What's up, everybody? Welcome to News, Games, and More here on IGN. I'm Damon Hatfield. I will be your guide today. It is April 1st, 2020. I'm joined today by Matt Kim.
Hello.
Destin Legary.
Hi, everybody.
And Josh Dew.
Hello.
Guys, can you remember on April 1st of your adult life that you woke up and weren't inundated with a bunch of April Fool's Day jokes? It's been very quiet today.
Yeah. I mean,
been a long time.
age, like they're in the internet. Like before, I was logging on to the World Wide Web like every morning. Like that was the only time.
Very quiet today. Understandably, though, given considering the state of things. We've got lots of fun topics to talk about today. We're going to talk about some next-gen console stuff. We'll talk about Final Fantasy VII Remake and some Bethesda news. But first, after the show, about an hour from now, do you guys have any plans out there? Oh, you're staying home? What a coincidence. So is IGN. Why not stick around? Watch a movie with IGN on Watch From Home Theater tonight, right after this show at 8 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Pacific. We will be live streaming the zombie movie that started it all, Night of the Living Dead, along with the Walking Dead executive producer, Greg Nicotero. You can watch Night of the Living Dead with IGN, IGN.com, Twitch TV/IGN, Mixer.com/IGN, or YouTube.com/Cinefix. Got you there. Made sure you were paying attention.
April Fools.
Destin, should we start off? What topic are we going to start off with today?
How about the exclusive Xbox interview with Phil Spencer? I think the audience might want to hear about that. Or should we make them wait a little bit?
No. I'm all about instant gratification.
All right. Well, let's get into it.
Yeah, IGN had an exclusive interview with Phil Spencer on our podcast, IGN Unlocked, hosted by Ryan McCaffrey, and we got lots of interesting quotes from Phil Spencer. What was one of the interesting quotes?
No plan B for the Series X at launch. So they feel pretty confident that it's going to be okay for that holiday 2020 launch window.
Yeah, no plan B meaning they have no. If they're impacted by the coronavirus pandemic.
Oh, okay.
It means they're going full steam ahead with the launch as planned currently, and they're so confident about it that they don't have a plan B.
Yeah.
Got it.
Is what they're saying.
Does that give you guys confidence that these consoles are actually going to launch this holiday?
I mean, it lines up with everything we've heard so far, right? That all the experts and Microsoft and Sony themselves are saying that there was likely no delay, potential shortages, but still everything's all set for holiday 2020.
Yeah. Sounds about right.
You guys aren't at all excited about this. You guys are like so quiet. I'm trying to let you talk.
Why would we be excited? It's like, oh, by the way, it's still happening. It's like, oh, great. It's like,
well, that's some good news, at least.
It is good news.
Everything else has been canceled.
Stuff. Yes, immense like delays and cancellations. Like hearing something's like, don't worry, this is still coming. Such as Venom 2. You know, some people are thrilled about that. Myself, I could not be more indifferent. But
I'm so excited.
For Venom 2?
There you go, right?
For Venom 2, not
Yes,
the Xbox.
okay.
No, I'm joking.
But it's like, it was already planned to come out, and it's just affirmation that it's like, yes, it's still coming out. Then I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
I think
it was last week, Sony also confirmed that they're still on track to release the PlayStation 5 this year.
Yeah. I think what's weird is on the movie side, there's a whole bunch of delays, but on the game side, not so much. Even games that are coming out in the coming weeks, you know, that haven't already previously announced a delay, like Cyberpunk, which was, you know, before the COVID pandemic. Like, not a lot of games have been delayed or held or anything like that.
Yeah. Final Fantasy VII got the opposite of a delay.
Yeah.
It's already out in Australia.
They put that out early as a result, so you know.
But we'll get to that in a little bit.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just wonder how realistic it is.
I feel like it's a little irresponsible not to have a plan B. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like from a business perspective, like you never know when something might go wrong.
Yeah.
And I mean, a lot of the reasoning for why there might be a delay is because like the whole supply chain, like maybe the parts from China like can't come in, whatnot, so there might have to be a delay. But it just sounds strange. And no, you know, we're doing it, and there's no plan B.
Well, here's what he said specifically, though. He said, we have nothing right now that says we're not going to make the dates that we've been planning. You know, I was actually the producer on that Unlocked episode, and he did talk about considerations for COVID-19 workers and, you know, being able to sort of look at that as they arise. But right now, it seems like China is not going to be delayed in production, and he's basing what he's saying off of those assumptions that he's hearing from the people working in China to make sure that this stuff releases on time. So I'm sure they'll react. All they can do is react when something comes up, right? So if there's shortages, there's going to be shortages due to what's going on in the world. So there's like, what can they do about it? Nothing. They can just address it as it arises. Right. So I mean, that was my takeaway from it.
Yeah, I mean, we also know that a lot of we've been told that companies have been moving their productions away from China to Southeast Asia as a cautionary measure, and so far those regions have been handling the COVID pandemic pretty well, all things considered. Like Singapore, Thailand, Vietnam have all reported pretty low numbers, so they're not as impacted as we are. So if they did that successfully and early enough, I feel like there's probably no issues with making the consoles. It all just depends on how many they can make from a company that they're not used to working with.
Yeah,
but I think like people's pre-orders potentially could like get messed up. I mean,
they haven't gone on pre-order. So.
I know, but by the time they do sell pre-orders, and if there is like a legit supply scarcity shortage, like that could cause problems.
Well, timeline-wise, if they know how much they have on hand and then they put up pre-orders after that, then they'll just make pre-orders less available. So that everybody who pre-orders does get it, but not everybody can get a pre-order, would be how I imagine would happen at this stage in the production cycle.
Yeah.
Anyways, this is business talk. Matt Kim.
If these consoles are supposed to launch 7-8 months from now, I don't know about you guys. It's like hard to even like think that far ahead, given the current the situation we find ourselves in right now is so crazy and so unprecedented, and it's just constant like bad news every single day, and everything's being delayed and canceled. So it's like hard to like think that in 7 months everything's gonna be better, everything's gonna be fine. These consoles are gonna make it on time.
Venom 2 is fine, and that's all I care about.
Okay.
The important stuff.
Yeah, nothing important has been canceled as far as I'm concerned.
Well, there's another key takeaway from the interview with Phil Spencer is that he said he feels really good about the power and price of the Xbox Series X. Full quote is, "I felt really good about how Series X lines up." Now, I think Mark Cerny and the team at Sony did some really good work on the audio processing that they talked about. Their SSD technology is impressive. We like that. We saw the work that they did. But, you know, we took a holistic view on our platform, from CPU to GPU to RAM to throughput, velocity, architecture, latency, back compat. You know, it took us years to get this to this point. He feels really good about where they're at with the Series X.
Yeah, I really, really liked how he handled this quote, to be honest. Just hearing him speak very frankly about where the PS5 lined up against the Xbox Series X, to use his language, was really neat. Like, he's not afraid to admit, yeah, their hard drive is fantastic. I'm showing the quick resume demo right now as B-roll. So we already know, like, here's how fast apps are going to be able to load on the Xbox Series X. They're happy with where they landed on that. They have a lot of other power in addition to the hard drive. And, you know, he fully admits that. Nobody can deny that the PS5 hard drive technology is incredibly impressive. But, yeah, the Xbox Series X is still looking pretty sweet right now in terms of tech. How did you guys react to it?
Well, I wanted to ask if he feels good about the price that they're planning on landing on. Does that tell us $500? Tells us it's definitely not going to go over that?
I feel like, I mean, without a confirmation, right? That's what we're all expecting, and that's the happy price. As far as, I mean, I'd be
$499, right, Matt?
Right. Yeah, I'd be thrilled if it was $400, but there's no way it is, and so I feel like everybody is just in like, okay, $500. And if you're going on record and saying I'm happy with the price, knowing that everybody is expecting around 500, 550, I feel like maybe that might be our range, you know?
Yeah, that's what I took away from it as well.
Yeah.
I think $499. That's like, all right, sold. I'll pick one up, especially if you're a console buyer
Yeah.
and you prefer to play on console. That's definitely the sweet spot. If it's $5.99, then you're kind of in the territory of, do I want to drop that much money on a console? Where does it stack up against the PS5? Unless the PS5 is the same price point, which I think it'll be lower personally. If the price of the Xbox Series X, to clarify, is $5.99, I think
whoa, $5.99?
Yeah, if it ends up being that high, then I think the PS5 will be lower. If it's $4.99, and based off of his comment about feeling like it's a good place, I think that number is $4.99 personally. Damon, what about you? $4.99, right?
Yeah. That's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah.
It sounds like a good sign that it's not going to be more than that.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm relieved.
Do you think the PS5 will come in at less than 500? Or are they going to be the same?
I think they're going to be the same. I think if Series X can do $499, we already know there's about $1,000 worth of gear inside of that box now that we know about the inside guts.
Yeah.
We have an article on IGN.com about that. And the fact that they're going to be coming in not that, obviously, is great. I think the PS5 can at least match. I think they might even still come in lower, but it'll probably be like $450. Like, let's go with the $499 number. PS5 would be $450. You know what? They'd probably just launch at the same price point. If it's $499, they'll both do that price point. That's my take on it.
I guess I just wonder if they're at the same price point, that leaves Sony open to people saying, the Xbox is more powerful. Why does the PS5 cost as much?
Well, they have bigger install base. I think their install base care a little bit less about how the PS5 is going to stack up against the Xbox Series X because they have that mindset of, hey, I have all these exclusive games that I know and love that are going to continue to come to the PlayStation brand exclusively. Xbox is developing that with their studio that they've been working on, but they don't have the same level of brand recognition with titles like Last of Us, God of War, things like that on the PS5 that players love.
Right.
Sure. But it's just like, if you're just comparing the two consoles, they cost the same, but one is more powerful. So,
do you really think that that'll definitely move the needle in terms of sales and market?
I think that
interest.
I think there's a potential for that. It's at least it makes Sony vulnerable to that criticism of like gamers online, right?
Yeah.
Right.
It would be an interesting test. Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know how much of like the gaming market really cares about specs. We can talk about specs a lot, but when it boils down to it, it's like, what games are on it? What games can I play? Where can I play them? But I think Xbox is really going for, maybe we don't have the depth in our exclusives, but they're going to look really good. And you're going to have a really good time playing whatever you're going to play on the Xbox Series X.
If you need a second, I'd be really interested to hear what our audience on Twitter and Facebook, how did they react to the news that came out this morning from Unlocked?
It went up pretty recently, but a lot of people are also kind of along the same lines that they don't really care so much about specs as they care about what games are on it. I'm seeing a lot of comments about that, but that is under the assumption that the PS5 is pretty comparable to the Xbox Series X. We don't really have a lot of confirmation in terms of price and specs matched like side by side. If it turns out that, what if the PS5 is $100 more expensive and the specs are actually lower? The conversation could change. It probably won't happen, but right now everybody thinks, let's just look at the games.
Yeah. Maybe we're at a point where power doesn't mean as much. It definitely means a lot right now before we actually get into it. It's about the IPs. It's about the gaming experience that you're going to be able to have exclusively on your specific platform. Look at what Nintendo did with the Switch. They just said, we're not playing the game anymore. We're just going to make great games, even though it's on subpar hardware. So this whole who's the more powerful conversation, while it's interesting to, I don't know, maybe the people on this panel and the people in chat, but maybe it's less interesting to the wider market. And those IPs that Sony has and that Xbox is currently developing are really going to be the make or break for both of these platforms.
I could see a world where like I feel like the Xbox Series X is starting to transition like gamers, like console gamers, into caring about specs and potentially becoming like PC gamers. And I wonder if Microsoft is like planning on capitalizing on that, because if their audience really is like, wow, I love these specs and I really do care about, you know, frame rates and like all this jazz, that's something that PC gamers have been focusing on for years now.
Yeah. It bears mentioning also that the PlayStation 5 does have this very impressive SSD that the Xbox Series X does not have. There's also a quote from a developer from Quantum League, a developer of Quantum League. These are quotes that come from the outlet Gaming Bolt, and they said he calls the PS5's SSD a paradigm shift in how we structure our game worlds. And paradigm shift is that's pretty strong words.
There's no denying the impressive nature of that hard drive. When we saw that leak initially of the PS4 load times for Spider-Man, remember that BCD thing none of us were supposed to see? I actually went into IGN, I installed a SSD into a PS4, I used the hard drive that comes with it by default. I compared it using Grand Theft Auto as a staple to the Xbox, and then to the fastest NVMe drive that money could buy for a PC, and the PS5 hard drive blew all of them out of the water. I couldn't believe the percentage increase. I'm just like, I didn't want to present the data when I came up with it because I was worried I made a math mistake. Like that's how impressive it was. So I think what he's saying is absolutely true. Whatever technology they've been able to develop and is going to be really, really interesting in this console race. How much difference will those loading times make when it comes to development, though? Like, I'm not a developer, so I can't wrap my brain around. I couldn't even wrap my brain around what the teraflop difference is going to do for the games that we're playing on consoles.
I think Mark Cerny gave some examples at his talk recently about how for years developers have had to build in sort of like winding hallways that you have to go through.
Gears of War, Maria, what's going on?
Just because it's loading up the next area, and now all of a sudden, if they're free from those constraints, they can really build the game worlds that they would want to build and not have to add in all these caveats. I think that's what I took away from it.
Yeah, I think ultimately it all comes down to games and which technology can further game development, you know, how to make Horizon Zero Dawn 2 or 3 or The Last of Us 5 even better than the last one using no loading time The Last of Us, right? Imagine that. And how much of a experience changer that will be.
Yeah, for
like,
sure.
I'm playing Control right now and the load times are rough. Right. And if I can play Control without any load times, like a console can guarantee that, I'd be very tempted as a killer feature.
Yeah, I'm playing Doom Eternal on a PS4 Pro, and I think the load times are just sort of like standard what you would expect. Probably about a minute to 90 seconds, and I wish that didn't feel totally normal to me. You know?
Yeah. It's almost here. It's almost here. Holiday 2020.
I really hope so. Loading times have been like a thing in gaming for like a long time. Like they weren't really there, and then they were just like really normal for a long time. And no matter how powerful our consoles are getting, there's still loading times. You know?
Well, it's because the consoles get more powerful, but the games also get bigger and more demanding. So it's like
So with Mark Cerny saying like changing that whole paradigm, or no, Mark Cerny didn't say that, but like
the Quantum League developer.
With the paradigm shifting in terms of how games are designed, this could legit be a no loading times or low loading time scenario.
So right now, everybody knows I'm a big Destiny player. There's a conversation about how bad loading times are on console versus PC. Basically on PC, you can install it on different kinds of hard drives, including an NVMe drive, which is the closest thing that we have to what the PS5 will be utilizing today. And it is night and day, just the hard drive type that you have it installed on. If you have it installed on a 7200 RPM hard drive versus the fastest hard drive on the market today, you will literally be waiting for your friends to load into the PC version of the world. Now on console, there are so many limitations in this generation just to bring up something like your inventory and switch out a gun, and that has dramatic impacts on the gameplay that you experience in the world of a game like Destiny. Now, I know I'm kind of getting into the weeds, but people mod their PS4s that play this game so that they can have, well, not mod, they just install the fastest hard drive that the money can buy so that they can just swap gear faster.
Yeah.
So extrapolate that by a 500% increase generation to generation, or whatever it's going to be from. I don't remember what that leaked demo said specifically, but it was some insane percentage increase in load time speeds. And I think people are going to be very impressed with how that changes the experiences that we have in games.
I think what's cool is that these two consoles aren't going directly head to head like in previous generations. Like,
really?
Well, here, like, I guess checklists might be the best way to do it. But on a hardware perspective, Xbox Series X wins, right? The Series X has better specs than the PS5 as far as it's been announced. But the PS5 has a better known library of IPs than the Xbox currently, right? And so it has the advantage there. And at the same time, the Xbox has a killer software app with Game Pass, which PS5 doesn't have. But PS5 is claiming better load times. These are all like pluses, but none of them are directly competing with one another, you know? So it's interesting. It's a weird matchup, you know?
Yeah.
It'll be like, what does the consumer value more at that point?
Exactly. And it's really depending on them, you know, and their preferences.
Well, they're definitely competing more than Nintendo is.
Right.
Yeah, Nintendo just stepped aside and they're like, do your thing. Yeah. We're going to do whatever over here.
Nintendo's like, we're going to put out 30-year-old Mario games this year.
Yeah.
Y'all are going to buy them.
You know it.
Yeah.
I would definitely be interested to hear from chat. How are you leaning? Are you going to get both? Are you going to get PS5? Or are you going to get an Xbox? Has any of this news that came out of IGN today adjusted your perception of either console? Yeah, just let us know what you're thinking.
Are you monitoring chat, Destin?
Yeah, I'm looking at YouTube right now, and I have a Mixer and Twitch open. So,
okay, we do have another Phil Spencer interview coming this Friday on our show, Next Gen Console Watch. That'll be live at 9 a.m. Pacific. Or is it 8 a.m.? It's 8 or 9 a.m. Pacific this Friday morning. Next Gen Console Watch. Second big interview with Phil Spencer. There'll be some more good stuff in there. But let's move on from Next Gen Console Watch for right now. Let's talk about a current gen game that is either about to come out or is already out, depending on where you live in the world. And that is Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Yeah,
Destin, hit us with the news.
I'm not salty. So, yeah, Australia has it. So if you're in Australia, we're not friends anymore. Just breaking the news to you now. Yeah, so the game's 100 gigs. I think we largely already knew that. But they sort of dove into why the game is 100 gigs, and it's because they're insane. So in an interview with...
I think that's right.
In an interview with US Gamer, the co-director... Oh, Damon, do you know how to say this name? I'm going to butcher it. Naoki Hamaguchi?
Naoki, yeah, no, you did it. You nailed it.
All right. Rather than thinking about repurposing standard assets for individual locations like the slums or the Shinra building, we decided to build each location using unique assets to achieve the quality desired for Final Fantasy VII Remake. That is insane. A commitment to craft, and I just have to give them a mad salute for how much love went into what they did with this game.
That's why this game is taking 20 years to make, and this is only the first part.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, if they're going with this model of development, yeah.
So,
I guess just to make sure everyone understands what this means, it's like as you move to different parts of the game, no assets that you see are being reused or copy and pasted anywhere else. Whereas, like as I move through the corridors of Doom Eternal, I'm sure I'm seeing the same textures all over the place.
Yeah. I saw that chair in the other level.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Nothing has been reused.
Yeah, it's nuts, right? It means if you see a box out in the slums and you see another box in the Shinra building, they're not the same box. They just decided to make two of them.
We need a new box.
Yeah, it's nuts. And also, kind of crazy, right? Because it's 100 gigabytes for a part one of a multi-part game.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
I don't know, man.
Okay.
Like I wonder if people will notice. Like that's another thing. It's like will people notice that the boxes are different?
Well,
that there's a different box per area.
Well, I don't know if it's every single little thing has its own model, right? But
no,
I think the best implementations of technology and game design are when you don't notice. If you can implement something like this and it just feels good and feels like you're immersed in the world, right? For me, like, I like gaming with headphones. I like, having the lights sorted down when I really, really want to get into the game. And if I just can experience it and just be like, I'm having a good time with the game that I'm playing without recognizing these technical details and maybe appreciate them at a later date, then those are the best experiences, to be frank. So even if they don't notice it, I think they will just have a general sense of the quality and care that was put into the product.
Some people in the chat have the game already.
Oh.
Yeah, they're all not my friends.
Did they notice? I wonder if they noticed. I mean, it's because like the reusing of assets is something that's it's very normal to us.
Oh yeah,
and like to the point where it's like you don't think they're lazy for doing it, and it's just like, oh, okay. And I've played a lot of games where they've reused assets like that, and they're very immersive still.
Yeah, I mean, like if you go to a real life hospital, it looks like they've reused assets from floor to floor. Everything looks the same, right?
I think the big takeaway though is that Square Enix was really going for a handcrafted vibe for Final Fantasy VII Remake, as just as a showcase for how beautiful it is, and I think they're absolutely killing it as far as from like the demo that I played and everything that I've been seeing online. Speaking of which, I saw a screenshot, not leaks, I guess, because it's officially out, but I saw early screenshots on the bag forum that I visit, which was weird and kind of disappointed.
Your what forum?
The bag forum?
Yeah, the backpack forums.
Is that an acronym? Oh
no.
Oh yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, Matt, you got to give people context. You collect backpacks.
I collect backpacks, and I'm on these forums for enthusiasts like me, and they did an off-topic thread about Final Fantasy VII, and I was like, this is weird. And also, I got mildly spoiled, and I was kind of bummed about that because you don't really expect to see game screenshots there.
Did they label it backpack spoilers? Like, were they?
No, I mean it was an off-topic thread. But it was not something that I was expecting to see. And then I saw some like end game screenshots, and I was like, Wait
a minute, Matt, have you not played Final Fantasy VII?
No, not the remake. I mean, I played 7 the game, but the remake is already out, and so
right.
Yeah.
What's there to spoil though? Unless they've
some characters make early appearances, and you see their redesigns, and stuff like that.
Yeah,
that's what's spoiled.
I actually avoided the demo because I wanted to really dive in at launch. How do you guys feel about the whole release thing? I totally understand given the circumstances, but why not just turn on digital downloads for everybody? Like, it's out in Australia right now. I could probably look on Twitch. There's probably a bunch of people streaming it. Let me be there for that launch. I don't really understand why there's still a delay if 20,000 people are playing it.
It's because Square didn't have a plan B.
You gotta have a plan B.
You gotta have a plan B, and they were not prepared for this. If they were, maybe it'd come out.
Right, I don't know why either. They would generate so much goodwill if they just flipped the switch, put the game out there right now. People would stop talking about Animal Crossing and they'd start talking about Final Fantasy VII.
That's true.
I'd start playing it tonight. That would be the game that I would jump into.
I'm all right. Resident Evil comes out tomorrow, so I'm okay.
Well, I don't know if I'd be able to play it. I don't know if I'd be able to play it tonight.
Enjoy your 5 hours.
Download.
That's what I heard. That's what I hear. I hear it's short, which is good because then I'll be done by the time 7 comes out.
That's true.
Yeah. So
I'm excited. Yeah.
I'm excited for both of them. I love hearing about game design stuff like this. I think it's really cool that they went to this level to make unique assets for everything. I'm even more excited to play Final Fantasy VII now.
Yeah. I think I would, now that I know this, like I'm gonna kind of be on the lookout for it and like kind of appreciate it.
I just want to remember when people made a big stink about the puddles in Spider-Man.
Oh God.
So now are people gonna be like combing through screenshots of Final Fantasy VII, like they reused an asset here?
They might.
Oh, do you remember the intro? Do you remember when they did the April Fool's joke where they added more puddles to Spider-Man or something?
That was good. We didn't have anything like that this year.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
I know.
Okay, we're at the top of the show. We were talking about how Phil Spencer of Xbox says he has no plan B for the release of Xbox Series X. They don't expect it to be delayed by the pandemic that's going on. However, Bethesda today had to they announced they have no replacement for their E3 conference now that E3 is canceled. Whereas other publishers, I think, are putting together sort of digital presentations that they would put out around the same time. Bethesda's doing nothing this year.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Well, wait.
Did they have something planned, right?
I mean, they always do a thing at E3. Yeah. They do a big like carnival, actually, like a big fun fan event at E3 for the last couple years.
And they have a conference.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah, there was one year where they gave us all big turkey legs. I always have to go there and do the asset gathering. So I'm like, all right, free turkey.
That was a weird one.
They don't have any chairs. They always make you stand.
Yeah.
I guess in the carnival ground or whatever. But
yeah, that's all right. Matt, though, what did they say specifically about not holding a digital event? They didn't say they're not going to. They did not say, yeah, we're not doing anything until next year. What did they say more specifically?
Yeah. So the news was announced by Bethesda's head of marketing, Pete Hines, and he says in his tweet, "Given the many challenges we're facing due to the pandemic, we will not host a digital showcase in June. We have lots of exciting things to share about our games and look forward to telling you more in the coming months." So really what it means is they're just not limiting their announcements to June when people, because I think the assumption is now that E3 is moving to a sort of digital canceled format or whatever. Canceled format? I don't know what. It's gone. E3 is dead, right? But people are assuming that E3 announcements that were planned are still going to happen around the E3 window that's now, kind of open. But Bethesda says, no, we're not going to limit ourselves to June. We have things, but we're just going to tell you about them when we want to tell you about them, So,
but it sounds like from his tweet that maybe they would have liked to have done a digital event around the same time, but their plans have been disrupted by the pandemic. That's how that's how I read his tweet saying, or it's at least the excuse.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't get that immediately, but I mean, at the same time, like Bethesda is one of the rare companies where we already know what they're working on years in advance. Like we know they're working on Starfield and Elder Scrolls 6. So I guess we're just missing out on new trailers.
Hey, there might be a platform Skyrim isn't on yet either.
Right.
You never know.
You never know.
Is it on Stadia? Is Skyrim on Stadia?
Ooh.
They could have announced Skyrim for Stadia.
It has to be.
Yeah. They have those two big games, and last year they announced Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo. And I don't think we've gotten any updates on either of those games. We don't know what's going on with Dishonored.
Yeah.
There's no new, Fallout 76 is kind of ongoing. They're still trying to, make that work.
Yeah.
But Bethesda's in kind of a weird position. There's been a lot of bad news, bad press about Bethesda in recent years. And they did have a big win recently with Doom Eternal, getting very high review scores and selling very well. I think it sold twice as much as Doom 2016 did at launch. But then there's just there's so many news stories about Fallout 76, where like a train wreck that is. And I think, even with Fallout 4, the fan base was sort of starting to turn on Bethesda around that same time. And then they announced Elder Scrolls 6 and Starfield so far in advance of whenever those games are going to be done. So it's like the proposition of doing like a sort of a press conference or a digital event may not be as appealing for Bethesda these days.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel bad. All their bad press is coming from Fallout.
Yeah. They also,
sucks.
Well, they have the Wastelanders thing coming out, and it's bad. I'm not going to defend Fallout 76. The game was bad. I don't know if it's improved though, because I abandoned it basically once it was barely playable for me. I had major problems with that game, and I'm a huge Fallout fan. I have a bunch of Fallout stuff behind me right now. I'm a big fan of the series, so it was a big letdown when 76 was a bummer. Hopefully they improve it with whatever this Wastelanders thing ends up being. As for them delaying their presence at E3 2020 or not doing anything, do you guys think that's a smart strategy to sort of separate a bunch of little announcements as opposed to doing any sort of digital conference? Like, why do you think they're just like, we're not going to do a digital conference. We're just going to release a bunch of trailers or assets.
I mean, is that what they're saying? They're not going to do any sort of like bundle up their announcements?
I feel like we're all reading. I feel like we're reading different things from this tweet, because what I got was they're just not doing their digital conference in June. That they have news, they just don't want to do it.
Remember he said, given the many challenges we're facing due to the pandemic, we will not host a digital showcase. The digital showcase is not happening because of the challenges they're facing.
Right. Right. Okay.
Yeah, because it sounded a little like interesting to me, because it's like if they were planning to be at E3 already, they have something. And then now they're saying they don't have something.
Yeah.
Which would be weird. But
well, I mean, think about it, right?
That makes more sense.
Sorry, I didn't mean that.
No, I'm done.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, but like maybe that's it, right? Like we have to do these shows from home. Imagine having to film an entire digital conference in a similar situation that we're in, right? Like you can't get studio space. You can't do get all your executives together in one room to do some sort of big digital presentation blowout, you know? So
yeah, actually, I was gonna say we know that other publishers are doing it. We know Nintendo and Ubisoft and Microsoft will all do something like that. But it's also like you'd think they'd want to get out there and plant their flag in next gen. Like, what are they going to have this fall for the launch of these consoles? I don't think they can go 2 falls in a row without having a big game release, because last year they had to delay Doom Eternal into March of this year.
Right.
They had nothing last fall. So, I mean, what's the rest of the year look like for Bethesda?
Fallout 77.
I certainly hope so.
Skyrim on Stadia. That's got to be it.
In related Bethesda news, they also announced that they've had to cancel QuakeCon 2020. And that was an event that I think that was planned for August. Is that right?
I think so. I've never been to QuakeCon.
I've never been to QuakeCon.
I have.
Is it in August?
Yeah, QuakeCon's usually August, October, sort of fall range, and so it's a big community event. They usually do some announcements there. Like that's the first time that we got to see the Doom, the played, but we didn't get footage of it right away. I remember we had an editor on site, and we had to like create content based on what they saw without any assets. That's always a challenge for us on the production side. But yeah, they also do this huge BYOC thing. They do a lot of QuakeCon tournaments, and it is definitely a beloved community event. So having to cancel that for them had to be a tough decision.
That's also kind of far out. I mean, far out, man. Nice. No, it's just like since it's in August, San Diego Comic-Con in July, which is another topic for the show later on. They're still saying we're not quite sure what we're gonna do yet. That's in July. I don't know. And Gamescom is also in August. Gamescom says we're still gonna move ahead whether or not our show's open to the public.
I think Gamescom personally scares me a little bit, because it seems like they might still do an open to the public thing, and I think that's very a scary proposition
but it's also
for the world,
right? But it's in September, and who knows what might happen by then.
Things could get better. Things could also get worse.
I want to address one comment though. Sorry,
we're taking things one day at a time.
That's true.
Yes.
Never in my life has that been more true.
Seriously. And all those days are blending together.
Yeah.
Concept of time is gone. I have no idea what hours are anymore. I want to address one comment in the YouTube chat from Liam, who says maybe the Pete Hines thing was an April Fool's joke. That's actually something that we asked Bethesda about and confirmed that it's not an April Fool's joke.
That would be such a weird and bad April Fool's joke.
Yeah, a not funny April Fool's joke, but yeah, that is something that we asked Bethesda directly. Like, is this a bit? And they're like, no, that's just a oddly timed announcement. They didn't say that. We said that, but they did confirm that's not a joke. So
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's
all right.
Great.
Right?
No jokes.
No jokes. No fun allowed.
Should we talk about San Diego Comic-Con now, or should we save it?
Yeah, that's a wheel.
You know what? We're already kind of in the weeds with the whole COVID-19 thing. Let's just keep going on it.
Yeah, I think San Diego Comic-Con tweeted today that it is hopeful that an event can take place in July, despite the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. They're going to continue to monitor the situation with local authorities. To me, that seems crazy.
Yeah, can I be candid for a second? Do you guys think I'm
No.
in trouble if I'm really candid?
No.
No fun allowed. Remember,
This is irresponsible and dangerous, and they need to figure out what they're going to do, and they need to cancel this event. Period.
There
San
really
Diego Comic-Con,
yeah.
no. Tell everybody that their tickets will be good next year, and you're going to garner a lot of goodwill from people that paid to go to Comic-Con. Everybody's understanding about travel and everything at this point, and it's dangerous for the whole world. Look at, I don't care what side of the fence you're on in America. Everybody's saying the same thing. There's no conflicting information there. It's dangerous right now. Stay inside. Maintain 6 feet distance.
Yeah.
Well, even if they throw the con, right, it's like there's I mean, the usual movies that show up and shows, there's nothing that's going to be promoted. They pushed everything back.
That's a good point. So the biggest content that comes out of Comic-Con is these big movie announcements. But you're right. If nothing is in production right now, how they can't get that footage for those trailers? I guess they could have animators putting together something.
Was it storyboard?
Yeah. Storyboards.
Yeah, but that's a good point. If Marvel's not producing their next series of Marvel movies right now, what can they show at Comic-Con?
Mm-hmm.
It's really, I think the only thing that's possible is maybe Venom 2.
There you go.
Venom 2. That's the only movie that's coming out this year that would be at Comic-Con, I guess.
I'll risk it. I'll go.
So
if they have that show, I'll go.
The Eternals is supposed to be out in November, I think. So I imagine that would have been Marvel's big thing.
Right.
Oh, wow.
We haven't gotten a trailer for it yet, so maybe they have that in the wings. But
yeah.
So
no, that's a really good point, though.
Right now, I have general convention B-roll from Gamescom playing, and even if, let's say, things are in a better state, I think psychologically we're still going to see the ramifications of what has happened here. People are going to be nervous about the COVID-19 outbreaks. And I don't think Comic-Con's doing themselves any favors by being wishy-washy about it like this. And it could be even giving people false hope about it. I think the responsible thing would be to say, we're definitely delaying it, period.
Mm-hmm.
That at least needs to happen. And if it ends up going to 2021, here's what we're going to do to make things right with you. And PR-wise, I think that's the best way you handle a situation like this. There's a big gaming community expo, actually, that just did exactly that. They were very upfront. They're like, this sucks. We're still going to do a live presentation. Here's how the live presentation can be viewed. And next year, guess what? Your tickets are still good for the in-person event, period. And it's a smaller scale, but it garners a ton of goodwill. And I think now more than ever, people are really understanding to something like that. That's how I believe it should be handled. Obviously, Comic-Con, Gamescom, they have their own considerations and things to deal with. But I think for the safety of your convention attendees, that's just what needs to happen.
Well, I reckon they're feeling a lot of pressure from the city of San Diego as well.
Which pressure? Which way?
Pressure to keep the conference on.
You think so?
I think
so. Way. The state of California, dude.
Well, it's not just this is San Diego. They make a ton of money from this convention, and what do they have? The Padres? They don't have the Chargers anymore. And as far as big live events go, San Diego Comic-Con is probably the most infamous, renowned thing that happens in San Diego for tourists to attend.
Yeah, but it's like right in downtown San Diego in the Gaslamp Quarter, full of bars and restaurants. As of right now, none of those can take any customers. I don't know. It's
as
just
of right now. But that's the thing. It's scheduled for July. I do agree they should, at least look into delaying it. July is that weird spot where maybe this will all die down by then.
Let's ask chat. Chat, let's say you're in the San Diego area. Would you want to go to Comic-Con right now? Or would you want to go to any major event?
We're not talking about right now. We're talking about July.
In July.
We're not talking about right now. Yeah.
Okay. There's a big concert that you want to go to
3.5 months from now.
3.5 months from now. Are you going? Yes or no?
Yes. It's a concert, and imagine it's the temperature of an oven. at full blast.
Okay, it's a
Royal.
big gaming convention that was just created. It's happening in July. It's your favorite. Everything's going to be there. Tons of people in a space. Would you go? Yes or no? I'm curious to hear like what the consensus would be from our audience.
Destin, the last time you asked chat something, we never heard their response.
They all said PS5. lot of PS5 responses, if you want me to go back there, and some Xbox responses. But yeah, they agreed with us largely. And you're right. Thank you for calling me on that. That I need to be better at interacting with chat. A lot of people are saying no. There are a few yeses, and that's pretty similar to the Gamescom reaction that I saw on Twitter when they announced it. There are some people that are like less sensitive to this. For me, I'm more nervous about this, and my wife is incredibly nervous. My wife used to be a microbiologist, so she is like very nervous about all this stuff.
Yeah, that's bold. I wouldn't want to go to San Diego at all ever, but that's just me.
Whoa,
I think San Diego's pretty cool.
San Diego's like a nicer version of LA. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a more chill LA.
Yeah, maybe that's why I don't like it. Maybe I like the stressful LA. Yeah.
There aren't enough backpacks in San Diego.
Yeah. I don't like the Chargers moving there to LA though either. So, whatever. I don't know. I don't really care for San Diego. I think it's a pretentious town.
Whoa!
Pretentious.
Chat, how do you feel about San Diego as a city?
All right, so chat,
viewers
mostly no, right?
Yeah.
Mostly no to Comic-Con.
That's
okay.
fine.
Sounds reasonable. Viewers, we have about 15 minutes left in the show, and don't forget, immediately following this, we'll toss you over to Watch From Home Theater, where IGN will be watching the original Night of the Living Dead, along with the Walking Dead executive producer, Greg Nicotero. Right after this, we're actually showing the movie because Night of the Living Dead is public domain.
Hey.
That's awesome. I'm actually pretty stoked for that.
That's really cool.
And so, speaking of the undead, we have a story today about how the Kinect, remember Kinect?
Oh, I have good B-roll for this one. 1 second.
Kinect can see ghosts. And I just want to remind everybody that this was literally the plot of Paranormal Activity 4.
That's my B-roll. Thank you, Damon. Here we go. Thank you, Fandango. I hope we don't get
Paranormal Activity 4 came out in 2012. And they used Kinect to see the ghost.
Oh yeah. Huh.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. So what is the news here that it can actually see?
It actually works. The technology is used by real ghost hunters.
Okay.
Sorry,
it's used by ghost hunters.
Yeah. Ghost hunters think that the technology in the Kinect can help them see ghosts because of the Kinect's facial recognition software, 3D depth sensors, and they think that sometimes it catches like physical bodies entering a space where there's none, and so they're like, well, obviously it's a ghost and not, a glitch in the system or whatever. But whatever. You can buy a Kinect Ghost Hunter kit for $400 in a specialty stores in Florida. And it comes with a Kinect, a Windows tablet,
Florida. There it is,
audio equipment, and an infrared recording software.
I hate ghost stories. I am super creeped out by ghosts, and
Are you creeped out right now?
I am creeped out right now because I just saw that stupid Kinect footage from Paranormal Activity 4.
You know what? And I think all of the Paranormal Activity movies are pretty good. They're all good.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. Well, what about the one? What about the like spin-off one where it told like 5 different stories? What was that one called? Lost Souls? Did you see that one? That one I did not see.
I didn't see an anthology one.
Yeah. I didn't see Lost Souls, but I saw 1 through 4, and I agree with you, Damon. Those movies creep the hell out of me. Yeah. They're great.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
And the reason this works is because the Kinect is also dead, and it can sense the undead better.
Hey, nice. Hey. Pretty good.
What do you guys think was the best Kinect game? I actually pulled up a list, and I can't believe how many Kinect games there are. There are like hundreds of them.
I don't.
I hated the Kinect. Damon, I don't know if you remember. I had to do a walkthrough for a Kinect game. I had to play through all of the Star Wars Kinect game.
Star Wars Kinect, the dancing one.
Yeah, there's probably footage out there somewhere of me playing the Star Wars Kinect game, and I hate that thing so much. But for real though, Dance Central, right?
Dance Central. Yeah, I guess they did 3 of those for Kinect. And then the Dance Central Spotlight. There's like 20 Just Dances for Kinect. There was a Burnout game? Weird.
There was a Burnout game in Kinect?
Burnout Crash was for, or it supported Kinect, I guess.
Are you the
Yeah,
car?
sort of Mass Effect 3, you could be like grenade, and your teammates would throw a grenade. And,
okay.
There was what was that game? Child of Eden, right? That was by the Tetris Effect guy.
Child of Eden, yeah.
Yeah, I think I played that one. That was trippy. But
when the Kinect was first announced, were you guys excited?
No,
I don't know.
No,
dude, there was the whole meme. Bam, there it is.
Bam, there it is.
Oh, Kudo Sonoda. Remember?
Dude, I forgot about Bam, there it is.
Do you remember the kid that?
Milo,
yeah,
the creepy kid.
Oh man,
he was a ghost. He was a ghost the entire time. The Kinect saw him.
Oh,
yes.
That's where he came from.
There was a Fable game for Kinect. Fable: The Journey.
Oh boy, no, I did not play that.
Where you had to pretend like you were riding a carriage or something.
Yeah,
right?
something like that. Yeah.
God.
And then you remember Double Fine made a Sesame Street game for Kinect.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Thought that was a weird announcement.
Crazy.
Well, I remember on the Xbox One, there's a Disney one that apparently kids really enjoy. But yeah.
Do you guys have any of you have an iPhone that uses Face Unlock?
I do.
That's Kinect technology.
Oh,
is actually
is it?
Is actually Kinect technology. The Israeli company
you talk crap about Kinect, and now you got to thank it for your Face Unlock.
Yeah.
The Israeli company that designed the Kinect sensors that Microsoft hired to work on it got bought out by Apple in 2013, and their sensor technology was used for facial recognition on iPhones 10s and forward. So if you don't like the Kinect but you like your iPhone, well, I have some news for you. They're the same.
That's how they get you.
Going back to this ghost hunting kit, who's selling it? Are they like? Is it a ghost hunting store?
There's probably some like how-to, right?
They have a name.
It's a bundle. It's a $3.99 bundle.
Yeah.
Like Kinect tablet, audio equipment, infrared recording software from Ghost Augustine. Okay. So, are they buying used Kinects?
I'm sure you can get one for like $20 on eBay. Yeah.
So there's just like this. I'm just imagining all this equipment in like a giant Ziploc bag. Of like used electronics equipment. It's like the $3.99 like ghost hunting bundle.
The bulk of the price comes from the Windows tablet. I have to assume.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, maybe this audio equipment, this very vague audio equipment.
I have a feeling the Kinect is the cheapest part of that bundle.
Yeah. Probably.
Sorry to break the fourth wall here for a second. What was the Animal Crossing thing we were going to talk about?
Oh, there's some new stuff for April, I guess.
Yes. Yeah. There's an event going on. Do we want to talk about that? Get off ghosts?
We have 6 minutes before we go into zombie movies.
Damon, did you have a different thing?
The other stories we had of Call of Duty banning cheaters, and then Rockstar donating proceeds to charity for. Those are the only other stories on our document. But if you guys, what are the impressions of the Animal Crossing stuff? Thumbs up, thumbs down?
Animal Crossing, thumbs up. The Easter event, thumbs down.
The Easter event is thumbs down.
It's not called Easter, right? It's called
There's no way it's an Easter event.
Yes.
No, it's the Bunny Day event or something.
In Japan, it's the Easter event.
Yeah.
In America, they call it the Bunny Day.
You two are supposed to be the experts, and you don't know the name of the event in the game that you're playing.
It was. Well, they never.
Sorry, I shouldn't have.
They never told me. I played the game, and then I found a man in a bunny costume introduce himself as Zipper, and say, "I've hidden some eggs."
Oh,
go find the eggs.
So it doesn't have like a name. It's not like an official name. And I know nothing about Animal Crossing, so I'm just as guilty.
I didn't see anybody say it's Bunny Day.
Yeah.
But I could be wrong.
I think there is some text hidden away where if you keep talking to him and bugging him, he's like, "Come see me in 12 days when it's Bunny Day, and I'll give you a special reward or something." And it's basically an extended scavenger hunt, and it kind of sucks.
So thumbs down, huh?
I'm not having a great time.
It looks great. Before, all the fruit trees and all the normal hardwood trees looked exactly the same when there was no fruit on them. So you couldn't tell the difference.
Yeah.
And when you wanted to move trees around, you'd have to scoop it up first to know if it was a fruit tree or a normal hardwood tree. But now all the hardwood trees are cherry blossoms, and everything's pretty and it's great.
It's true. It is beautiful.
It looks very nice.
Yeah. But the problem is like because of the scavenger hunt aspect, like if you're fishing and you want to fish, instead you could get an egg, right? And you don't want that egg. You're just like, I wanted to fish, you know? Or you're mining a rock for materials, and instead of iron ore and cool stuff that you can use to build things, you get an egg.
That's how the game always is. Like,
it sucks.
If you're fishing, you're gonna get a tire or a boot or a can. By the way, if you have trash at Animal Crossing, please send it to me because I am trying to create a trash corner.
What's the name of your island again? You're still in the audience.
It's called McDonald's.
No.
I have a nice big old welcome sign that says "Welcome McDonald's." My flag is the golden arches.
Wow.
And I'm having I got a trash corner because every McDonald's
beautiful
has trash. Yeah.
So Destin, I know you're not playing Animal Crossing. What are you playing these?
I've been playing a lot of Division 2.
I was just going to ask you about that. The first season, right?
So Division 2 Season 1 is out, and there's actually a lot of controversy going on right now in Division 2.
Oh my goodness.
Because they just banned a whole swath of players who were using this weird turret mechanic where you like get on a turret, get off it, then switch your weapon, and your DPS would be exponentially amplified, and then you could go do a mission and just shred through everybody, right? So let me ask how you guys feel about that. Do you feel like you should be suspended if you do something like that?
So all they were doing, they were just using an in-game like exploit. They weren't using any third-party cheat.
No cheat or anything like that. You can do it on console and on PC.
That's on the devs. Yeah.
Yeah, totally on the devs.
Yeah.
All right. Well, they banned everybody.
What?
They banned everybody for 1 week. This has been Massive's philosophy for a long time. Somebody did put it in terms that I think it was very hard for me to understand why this would negatively impact the game. Basically, there is a raid race coming out, so people are going to be competing to be able to complete the raid, and if they were to utilize this glitch, then it would mess up that. Their leaderboards are sort of messed up in the game, and it's all sort of tied up in a weird time. But the result has been the community is just in utter turmoil. Nobody knows, like, everybody's scared to sort of play because a bunch of people got banned who said they didn't do it. And they're like, oh, well, I played with somebody who did it, and I think that's why I got banned. So nobody knows what's going on. And I don't think they've done a clear job of explaining why these bans happened. I'm having a blast in Warlords of New York. It's probably my favorite thing to sort of min-max out my character right now. There's some really cool builds that I can do. And sorry, I could nerd out about Division 2 for the rest of our time.
But that banning does sound really weird and
egregious.
Yeah.
A little excessive, a little heavy-handed.
It's a philosophy. The philosophy of Massive has been that way since Division 1. In Division 1, you could farm, I believe it was like Phoenix credits or Phoenix tokens or something like that. And if you did that, they would suspend you. And for context, they're banned for 1 week. So they're technically suspended for 1 week.
Yeah.
It's just like, hey, don't do that. You're suspended for 1 week. And they've been trying to fix this bug, which is still in the game, by the way. This is like their third crack at trying to fix it. And I think you can still do it currently. So, that's what's going on in Division 2. Otherwise, if you're playing it and not using the exploit, it's a lot of fun. I have a really good turret skill build. That's a lot of fun. And I've been hunting the exotic chess piece tardigrade. So
I'm sure it's fun even when you use the exploit at the time. And then you get suspended.
Yeah, for sure. Well, that about does it for us today here at News Games and more. But don't go anywhere. We're going to hand you over to our friends over at Watch From Home Theater, starting right now, about 5 o'clock, and just about 1 minute from now. They're going to be watching Night of the Living Dead, along with the Walking Dead executive producer, Greg Nicotero. Should be a very fun evening. But thank you, Destin, Josh, and Matt. This was totally fun.
It was very fun.
Yeah.
All right.
Bye, everybody.
Everybody have a good night.
Bye bye.
Right.